You back to the program. Also, welcome back to the program. Attorney Kim Baer here, and seeing that next week it's the holiday season, we have to say Merry Xmas. But I think we're spelling X-E-X, miss, with our topic here today.
Right, right. Well, unfortunately, we see a rise in the filings of divorces in January. People get through the holidays, whether it's because they want to get through the holidays for the spouse or the kids or whatever the case may be, and then January and February and March we see the spike. So I thought maybe today we'd talk about how we divide marital property in Iowa. The term that we use is equitable division, and what that typically means is 50-50, not always. Might be 49-51, 48-52.
So it's pretty close.
So it's pretty close. That's what we're kind of trying to do. The first question we have to figure out is, what is marital property? And under Iowa law, really it's anything that was earned during the marriage. And so sometimes that's hard for people to grasp because they say, well, I worked hard and I put my money in my 401k and it's mine. It's not ours, it's mine, So, and maybe I worked really hard and I put all my money in my 401k and I'm married to you and you keep losing jobs because you have an alcohol problem, or, you're just not a hard worker, or maybe you cashed out your 401k to pay off your credit cards a few years ago. And so people really have a hard time understanding, why do we have to share the 401k? Well, if it's earned during the marriage, it's going to be marital property.
The whole 401,
the whole
thing, not just the portion while you were married.
Well, no. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So the portion that was earned during the marriage.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So a good example, and that's an excellent question, Lou. Let's say that I have $100,000 in my 401k and $25,000 of it was in there before. So now we're looking at $75,000. But in the law, especially in family law, nothing's completely black and white. Let's say that you and I were married for a long time. Let's say we've been married for 25 years. Okay. And now we're getting divorced. And so I'm saying, well, we're only going to divide $75,000 because the 25 is mine. I had it beforehand. The judge has the authority in Iowa to say, we don't really think that's fair because maybe you stayed at home with the kids or something, or maybe I was the high earner and you were the low earner. So the court does have the authority to say, we're going to look at that premarital property. So we've talked about prenups in the past.
I was going to say, is this past prenups? Is this even something we look at if we're looking back on other conversations we've had? And you can check that all at weareiowa.com. In a prenup, would you put, you can't touch my 401k?
Yes.
You would. That's all laid out in that prenup.
And typically we say in a prenup that not only what I had when Lou and I got married, but also everything I put into it during the marriage. So
it's still mine.
It's still mine. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
So if you do that prenup, we could be avoiding the conversation we're having right now.
We could be avoiding the conversation.
And I know you probably stated this already, but what is Iowa law? Everything is split.
Pretty much 50-50. Yeah.
So if you don't have that piece of paper, we're looking at everything on the table and going.
Exactly. And we don't really, in Iowa, we don't recognize what we call postnuptial agreements. And what that means is, let's say you and I have been married for 10 years and we're really not getting along. And I'm thinking, darn, I wish I would have gotten a prenup. and I didn't. I can't say, Lou, let's just agree right now.
Here, why don't you sign this
here?
Yeah,
sign this right here. Yeah. Don't read it. Just sign right here.
Sign right here. I forgot to get your signature about 10 years ago.
Exactly. So far in Iowa, and Iowa's in the minority of states. So far in Iowa does not honor these postnuptial agreements. Other than there is a case out there where Iowa honored a postnuptial agreement, but it was written and drafted while the couple lived, I think, in Florida. So in a state that honored them, and then they moved here and got divorced, and the court said, well, they did this in Florida. It was valid in Florida, so we're going to go on ahead and honor it.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe you and I could move to Florida for a year.
Then do it.
Yes, have you sign, come back.
I was going to say, I know there are couples sometimes that live in different states. Does it matter then where you file it? Or
it does. It does. Now, in Iowa, we require a 1-year residency. So you have to have been here for a year.
Okay.
A lot of times, and I think I just talked to somebody a couple weeks ago that they hadn't quite been here a year. And I said, okay, well, call me back in March because you haven't been here a year. And so, you don't meet the residency
They're
requirements.
pretty strict about that.
Yeah,
Good to know.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is inheritance and gifts.
Yep.
And so during the marriage, if I give you a set of golf clubs and maybe you buy me some jewelry, gifts are not marital property. So what gifts that are given to me, gifts that are given to you, maybe my parents bought me a car, you know, and it was clear they bought it for me. So we always, you know, when we talk to people about, okay, what are we going to try and divide, we always ask them about gifts, and then we also ask them about inheritance. So now, gifts and inheritance, you know, are kind of the exceptions to the rule. Inheritance, if you inherit a farm, but there's another exception to that rule. You know, which,
so many exceptions.
it's complicated.
Yeah.
But let's say that you inherit a farm, and I say, you know, great, I've always wanted to be on a farm. I'm tired of being a lawyer. You know, Lou, I'm going to help you, you know, feed the cows and the pigs and bale hay and do all that stuff. Yeah, I'm going to, you know, drive the combine. And so you and I work on the farm, and we work on it for 20 years. And now I've had it with you, and I say, okay, you know what? Farmland is, the price is up. Now would be the time to get divorced. You'd be surprised.
Time is right.
You'd be surprised, yeah. So I go to my lawyer, and the first thing my lawyer is going to tell me is, well, he inherited that farmland, so it really is his inheritance. It might not be marital. But there are some cases out there that say, well, wait. Again, it's an equitable division state. And we have situations where the court has said, wait a minute, that's not fair to Kim. Kim has helped Lou for the last 20 years work on this farm.
You've helped work the land.
Right.
Exactly. So in those situations, what you have inherited may not be completely set off. So we have cases where the court has said, we're gonna separate the farmland.
Wow.
So you've got things like that.
I've been in a situation where, let's say you guys are married and your family gifted Lou a big
Yes.
gift of some sort, but then got divorced. You're like, well, that was from my family, so therefore it's mine. How does that?
We look at the intent of the donor, so we look at what the parents, you know, are going to say. I mean, are they going to? I mean, I brought, you know, Mom in and put her on the stand and said, okay, you know, you wrote the check. Who did you write the check to?
Yeah.
You know, what was your intent? You know, did you ever like your daughter-in-law? You know?
Because sometimes
those are the questions you want on the stand.
I never trusted her, you know.
You know, never a dull moment in family law. Just tell
I
you.
would imagine.
But those are the things.
I mean, but these things happen in all reality and seriousness.
They do happen.
But I think the bottom line here is whenever any of these type of transactions take place, get something in writing.
Right. Get something in writing. Keep a copy of the check. I mean, you know, a lot of times, you know, if you and I are married and we're happily married right now, my parents wanted to give us money, they probably would write the check to both of us. You know, and down the road, I might be trying to argue, oh, no, that was to me.
Right.
Well, then we're going to go back and look at the check. And so if your name is on the check, that's going to be hard to fight. You know, because that was the intent at the time. Not that now we're mad at Lou when we want him to give us back the money, or we want him to give Kim the money. So we really look at the intention at the time.
Okay.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And speaking of money, we're talking a little bit about alimony too.
Yeah, I thought I'd mention about alimony. So in alimony in Iowa, we need a marriage that has lasted, you know, really beyond 5 years. So we start looking at, you know, 5 to 10 years is kind of a short-term marriage, and then 10 to like 15 years is kind of medium. And then we have some new cases that have come down in the last few years talking about, you know, anything over a 15-year marriage can be considered long-term. So what that means is if you and I are married, but we haven't been married for 3 or 4 years, it's probably not going to be an alimony case.
Okay.
But if we've been married longer than 5 years, you might be entitled to a little bit of alimony, or I might be entitled to a little.
It could go both ways.
It could go both ways. So we look at how long we've been married. Then you have to have disparity in income. You know, one of us has to make a lot more than the other person, or maybe somebody's behind in their career because they stayed home with the kids. And then we also have to look at ability to pay.
Now, what does that alimony do? Try to level the playing field here?
It does.
It does.
I mean, there are lots of purposes. So we have 3 different types of alimony. One is kind of a transitional, like we're going to get you from being divorced to living on your own. Another one is rehabilitative, where maybe you've supported a career, or you've raised children, or you moved for your spouse and you gave up a job, and so now you're behind. So it's kind of to rehabilitate you, maybe to send you back to school. And then the other one is what we call traditional or permanent alimony. And when I start talking to people about lifetime alimony when they come in, nobody likes to hear that they're going to have to pay lifetime alimony. But if you've been married a long time, and in Iowa now, longer than 15 years might qualify. We used to tell people 20, 25 years. And if there's a big disparity, if there's a 50, 75, 100,000, sometimes, if somebody's a doctor and somebody's a stay-at-home mom, that could be significant. Then we're talking about alimony. So, and it could be for the rest of their life.
So the biggest advice this morning: sign the prenup. Get that paperwork filed as well.
Get the prenup.
As we mentioned, this is a real situation, and as you mentioned, the numbers do go up as we approach the first of the year. If people are needing the advice, or just maybe just sit down and have a conversation before they get into all of this, you're willing to do that as well.
Oh, correct? Absolutely. So we offer a free 30-minute consultation, and then we also have some interesting things coming with the Trump tax bill, because if that passes today, that might affect how we're going to tax alimony. So
really?
Yes.
All right.
Seriously?
Yes,
So
there's a provision in there. More things to talk about.
So
unbelievable.
Yeah, so just give me a call at 515-279-2000, and like I said, we offer a free 30-minute consultation.
Okay.
There you go.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Merry Xmas. It is 7:41.
You guys have been married and divorced so many times.
I know.
We'll be right back. This is CW Iowa Live. What do you want for Christmas?
Jewelry.
Okay.
Oh,
Make it a gift.
Good. Okay.